This episode is brought to you by Capital One. Capital One's tech team isn't just talking about multi-agentic AI, they already deployed one. It's called Chat Concierge, and it's simplifying car shopping. Using self-reflection and layered reasoning with live API checks, it doesn't just help buyers find a car they love. It helps schedule a test drive, get pre-approved for financing, and estimate trade-in value. Advanced, intuitive, and deployed. That's how they stack. That's technology at Capital One.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I don't know if you've heard, but Mint's premium wireless is $15 a month. But I'd like to offer one other perk. We have no stores. That means no small talk. Crazy weather we're having. No, it's not. It's just weather. It is an introvert's dream. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kilowatt, a podcast about electric vehicles, renewable energy, autonomous driving, and much, much more. My name is Bodie, and I am your host. And on today's episode, we are going to talk to Allison Sheridan about her experience test driving the Nissan Ariya. I'm not going to spoil it. As always, Allison does an excellent job of laying out the problems that need to be solved and how this car may or may not solve those problems. So let's go ahead and welcome Allison to the show. By the way, the first time, like in real life, when Allison and I were actually chatting face to face or video to video or monitor to monitor, camera to camera, I did not introduce her so magnanimously. So yeah, you're going to hear me make reference to that, but I cut it out because it was an awful introduction. All right, now, for realsies this time, let's welcome Allison to the show.
Well, thanks for having me, Bodie. It's like I saw you just minutes ago, it seems.
It feels that way. Also, I feel like I could have had more confidence at welcoming you back to the show.
Pretending that it was your idea.
Yeah, what's that 20 in the background with the balloons?
In May, I celebrated 20 years of my podcast, the longest-running Apple-centric podcast, the NosillaCast. So Steve gave me balloons, and they haven't deflated yet.
Yeah, no, they're still there. It doesn't even look like they're a little deflated.
Nope, the helium ones didn't last, but those are regular. So anyway, yeah, I'm kind of proud of it.
You should be proud of it. You should be. One of the other things that you do, Allison, is you are an EV whisperer. You like to go out and help people with their journey to find an EV. Recently, you and Pat worked on getting an EV. Who else have you? Cheyenne, I know that you did a little episode for NosillaCast with Cheyenne, and you were so nice to let me put that on our show.
Yeah.
But yeah, and you bring data to EV shopping.
I do like me some good data and, a little pivot table here, a QFD there. I do enjoy that.
You're the one that taught me how to use pivot tables. And actually, you're the one that taught me what pivot tables actually are. So,
yeah, one of the things I like to do is help people make decisions using data. And there's a thing called a QFD. It stands for Quality Functional Deployment or Quality Function Deployment, which is a terrible name. But it's a decision tool that forces you to weight the things that you care about non-linearly. So you don't give it a 1 to 10 on how important a feature is. You weight it as 1, 3, or 9. And then the different things you're choosing between, say which different cars you're looking at, you weight how well they meet that requirement with a 1, 3, or 9. And then a bunch of math occurs. And at the end, you've got a number that represents the overall value of that car against your criteria. And because of the way it's weighted, the right answer tends to pop out. When you do 1 through 10, it doesn't work. You have to do this 1, 3, 9 nonsense to get it to actually pop out a distinctly different answer.
interesting. Is there a is there a field in there for emotion, like how you feel about the car?
Whatever you want to be in there.
Okay.
And so you lay down the criteria first, and we're going to talk about our friend Lynn. She's a listener of the Kilowatt podcast.
Oh, hi,
Hey,
Lynn.
She also bakes wicked good brownies. Anyway, she is looking for a new car. She has I think it's an 18-year-old Honda Civic, and she's thinking maybe it's time to start looking at a new car. And so I suggested that I jump in and try to help her, and she thought that was a grand idea for some reason. So what I had her do was just first give me like 10 or 15 things that are important to you in a car. What would be differentiators for you in choosing a new car? And then we started massaging those to make them work in the QFD realm. And so she's got a list of the things that are important to her. And I did this also with Pat Dengler. I had her come up with a list of things that were important to her. And it's a fun exercise because as the person making the tool, you want to go in and influence it and go, no, that's not as important as that one. You want to make that one higher. Like I'm always bugging people to do one pedal driving is more important than anything else in the vehicle. And it turns out it's not important to a lot of people. Lynn in particular doesn't care. A lot of people don't care, but I wouldn't buy a car without it. So, but that's what's important about the tool is I might put one pedal driving as a 9. She might put it as a 3 or even a 1. And so that's why this works, to help you pick the car you want. And you can put in, was I excited by it? Like one of the cars, and I don't remember which one, she drove it and she was like, meh. She described it. She said the harshest thing. She said it was like driving a rental car. You don't want to buy a new car and feel like you're in a rental car, right? That's not what you want. So you absolutely would put your emotional response to the car in it.
I will say that my wife and I bought the van that we have now because we rented a van similar to it in Hawaii, and it was way better than our SUV. So, that could mean different things to different people.
Okay.
So today we're going to talk about the Nissan Ariya, which I see a fair amount. I don't know about where you are in California, but where I am, I see a fair amount of Nissan Arias running around.
I had never heard of it. I'd never
Really?
heard of it before. Yeah. So the first go, no go criteria for Lynn is fits in her garage. And Bodie and I are in a little chat group called EV Talk in Telegram. And one of the things I get made fun of all the time for is how short my garage is and that I insist on putting my car in said garage. And my garage is 187 inches long. Hers is an 184. And that's a big jump down. So she wants a small SUV style vehicle, and she wanted SUV because, like some of us here, we're getting older, and your knees aren't always going to be there for you. And so she didn't think having a low dragging car like my Model 3 was a good solution for her looking forward, and especially if she keeps her car a long time, she is likely to have bad knees by the time that that car's done. So she wanted an SUV style, but it has to be this tiny little dimension. So I said, all right. She was considering plug-in hybrids and would even buy an ICE vehicle if necessary. If none of the cars that were EVs or plug-in hybrids met her requirements, she was willing to go ICE. And I didn't want her to do that. So I didn't look up any ICE cars. I didn't look up any plug-in hybrids. I only looked up SUVs. And I just asked ChatGPT, give me a list of the cars, the currently selling electric vehicle, small SUVs, less than 184 inches, and just give me that list of cars. And one of them was the Nissan Ariya. And as I always tell people, I use it as my initial research, but then I go and check. Are those cars really that length? Because, the AIs are compulsive liars, so you do have to check. But it gave me a starting point. And so that's why we went to go see the Nissan Ariya, because I had literally never heard of it. Had no idea it existed.
So what were your first thoughts? Because I know when you said, I'm going to go look at a Nissan Ariya, I said, hey, make sure to check out the new Leaf as well, because I don't know if they're out on car lots yet, but it's reviewing very well. So when you went to look at it, did you have expectations, or were you just kind of keeping an open mind? Because Nissan as a company is, they're having some issues. They've had some, maybe they had rumored merges that never happened and things like that. So what were your thoughts?
Maybe
about
I'm a
your
little
face,
head
I'm guessing
in the
you didn't know
sand.
those things.
No, I didn't know those things.
Okay.
I'm not invested in this car for me under any to start with, but I was just open-minded. We didn't look at the Leaf. I mentioned it, and the guy said, "Yeah, we don't have them yet." So that wasn't a contender. It might be in the long run for her. I don't know. But my first impression of this car was it was really smooth. It was a really nice ride. Now, one of the problems I have with Steve and I both have with his Model Y, he has a 2020 Model Y, and it is really rough. And I swear the suspension is getting worse. Like something's degrading in it, because I don't remember hating it this much early on. But I like to cross stitch in the car, and I'm literally laughing because I'm trying to poke a needle into a little hole, and I can't hit the hole because the car is just flying all over the place. So have raised way up in my list of things I care about is how does it feel? What is the ride like? It's very smooth, and I was surprised at. I don't think of Nissan as a high end company. I don't think of them as a luxury brand. I didn't expect to see a lot of the high-end Nito stuff, the high-end electronics that you can get some other cars. And this car is really well appointed. It's got wireless CarPlay, and the display isn't huge, but it's got the wireless CarPlay screen in front of the center console, and then in front of the driver, it's got another display with lots of information. And you can, using the thumb wheels on the car, you can change the view of what you like to look at while you're driving. It's got a heads-up display of the speed and the speed limit right in front of your eyes. Really, really nice. I like that. I don't like having to look over to the side. The Tesla used to have the speed limit over on the far upper right-hand corner of the screen. And with that giant display, it's like 15 inches, I think. It's really far away over there. Well, they moved it over to the far left. So it's a lot better than it used to be. But CarPlay puts it on the far right, which I think is just bananas. That's the wrong place. Should be closer to the driver, I think. So having it up in a heads-up display, that's a high-end luxury thing. That's not something that you get with I don't think of Nissan as a high-end car, but I think maybe it is.
When you say heads-up display, are you talking about the panel behind the steering wheel, or is it actually displayed on the window?
On the windshield.
Nice.
Yeah, so there is a display right in front of you, but it's also up above. There's two zones for where the cameras I've been talking about on the Teslas that look back at 45 degrees. They have those same cameras on the Nissan Ariya, and the display in front of you can show you if somebody's coming into that zone. And that's what would tell you don't turn left or right into those zones. You get audible alerts if you try to do that, and you have the little visual, the triangle lights up on the side view mirror if you look in that way for it. So it's got some situational awareness. We did not test this, but according to the brochure, you with the Nissan Ariya, it will stop if there's a pedestrian in front of you. It'll not just object detection, human detection. So I thought that was a good thing. I think it might also have it in reverse as well. You don't get to run people over going backwards either.
Okay, we should test that when she gets one, if she gets one.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. She drove it out. We asked the guy whether she could drive it to her house, which was 16 minutes away, to see if it fit in the garage. And man, I did not have an appreciation for how small her garage was. It is wee tiny. She was really afraid of hitting the side view mirror on the right. So the width, according to the spec, would fit in her garage, but it turns out that's with the side view mirrors folded in.
Oh.
And so, and that's okay, because she could remember to fold them in before she drives in, because your head's in that space, right? I've got to go in this tight space. I'm going to fold them in. The problem is when you turn the car on, they fold back out automatically. So she has to also remember to fold them back in before she would back out. The length was just like Gary's got a really nice workbench, possibly the second most organized workbench I've ever seen in my life. I mean, the tools are all lined up parallel, look all nice and stuff. Anyway, the front of the car has to almost touch the workbench for them to be able to close the garage behind her car.
Oh, that's tight. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really tight. So I think that was a little bit of a concern for them. But I asked her, could I drive on the way back? And one of the things I've wanted to know, my car goes 0 to 60 in 3.1 seconds, and it's really fun. I don't use that speed all the time, that acceleration all the time, but I do use it. I love to just pull out fast from an intersection, looking both ways and checking the lights and making sure nobody's going to run through, of course. And so I was kind of curious, what would 0 to 60 in 4.8 seconds feel like, which is what the Nissan Ariya had. And I accelerated. It felt pretty good. And then the guy, the dealer says, oh man, we're in snow mode. Hang on, press this button a couple of times, and it put it into sport mode, and then it felt really good. I mean, it was quite respectable. I mean, it wasn't my car, but it was great. It was great, I thought.
I think mine's 4.8 seconds, and it'll still throw you back in the seat.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I didn't know. All I know is old fat gas car, fancy new, Tesla, way fast. I didn't know I have never tested the medium. So actually that's not, well, no, I got to drive a, what's that really expensive one that, I always drool over? The Lucid Air. I got to drive it Lucid Air, and that was 0 to 60 in 3 something. And it's a big fat boat of a car. And that was super fun.
Excellent. So overall, do you remember what the range was on that? Because I want to say it was like 270.
Yeah, this was the Engage Plus. That was 272 miles with an 87 kilowatt hour battery. So that's pretty efficient. One of the things that's been bugging me is a lot of these big EVs have 100 kilowatt hour batteries and much lower range than what we get with our 75 kilowatt hour batteries with the Tesla. So they'll get like 250, 260. This is 87 kilowatt hours with 272, which is pretty good. I thought the efficiency was pretty good on that. It doesn't have true one pedal driving. It has a little, it's got haptic feedback on buttons, which is kind of nice.
Nice.
There's a button on the console that you press, and it puts it into what's essentially one pedal driving, but it won't come to a complete stop. But there's another button you can turn on called auto hold. And if you press the brake and then let go with it on auto hold, it will stop. So if you're waiting at a stop sign, you can press the brake and it'll automatically stay at the stop and won't creep. So you do get the relaxation at a stop sign with that. Both of those features survive a turning the car off and turning it back on. So if you choose this one pedal driving mode, you keep it between steps, between times you drive it. So that's good. Some of the cars don't, which is silliness.
Yeah. No. So I know somebody who does not like the one pedal driving at all. They would much rather
Bruce is wrong. Okay. Bruce is just wrong.
Okay. Not calling anybody out by name.
No,
but they don't enjoy it as a rule. But it's not just them. I think it's just you just have to spend a little bit of time with the one pedal driving, and more than a ride down the street. It probably took me, it didn't take me very long when I got my Tesla to get used to it, but it probably took me a month before I knew that I didn't have to put my foot on the brake when I was at a stoplight, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think I'm just
a faster learner than you. I think it took a week, but just the fact that I brake now 2-3 times a week, maybe. And that's just when I misjudge something, like I'm going down a hill and I forget that hills matter. And that's it. I mean, I don't brake going into my garage. You just don't. You just feather it. It's so nice. I kid Bruce a lot, but one of the things, he bounces back and forth between a nice vehicle and his EV, and he just didn't think that he could keep, context switching in that way. I think if he tried, he could, but
yeah, I think it's I think it is a shift, and for the general public that doesn't ever drive an EV and doesn't know why they would want one pedal driving, I think most people would enjoy it. But it is definitely like when I let my friends who don't have an EV drive, it is terrifying.
They freak out.
Yeah. Well, it's terrifying just for me. I freak out.
Oh,
I have a friend who is, at the time, I think he was 19 or 20, but he's 22 now. And I went and picked him up. He's having a bad day. I went and picked him up. We went and, hung out for a little bit. And I said, hey, I just got my car too. And it was nighttime. And he lives in ASU's dorms. And we were driving back from where we were going to the dorms. I was like, hey, would you like to drive my car? And he said, yeah, because he'd never driven one before. I was like, cool. So he gets in the front seat and we're driving. And that part in itself is like Tempe, around the college at nighttime. There's all sorts of people. That in itself is just terrifying in general. And he did fine. But we were sitting in the parking lot afterwards of his dorm, and it's us, some trees and a little bit of vegetation, and the dorm, right? That's how close we are to the dorm. And we're talking, and he goes to get out of the car. and before, like, he's trying to figure out how to get out of the car, and he didn't have it in park.
Yeah.
So he put his foot on the accelerator,
Oh,
and for
no.
half a second, I thought we were going through that dorm room. But he recovered very fast and put his foot on the brake. Thank God he's 22 and smart. But we both, for a minute, we laughed hard for a while. But like in that moment, I knew we were going like a rocket ship. So there, I kind of see, like, if it had that creep mode, which I think you can turn on in a Tesla, but
Yeah,
if
you
it had that
can.
creep mode, it would give him the clue that, hey, I'm not technically stopped. I'm currently in drive mode.
Well, what's funny, if you understand how the vehicle works, you don't actually have to put it in park. I never do. I drive up to into my garage and I feather the accelerator. I come to a stop. I have not touched anything else, and I open the door. The car puts itself in park and unlocks and opens the door, and everything's fine.
And it also yells at you. But yes,
It writes something on the screen, but
it
but
gives you
I
a boop,
don't
boop, boop.
press on the accelerator as I get out of the car. That's the
No.
feature. Sounds like he went to the same driving school as the kid who hit my car, but that's another story.
It could be. It could be. It's a story that people have heard by the time they've heard this one, because they're going to be released a week apart.
Okay.
So, Allison, we have about 2 minutes left. What if you had to, like, your big impression of the Nissan Ariya? What is your big impression, and would you recommend it?
I thought it was really, really nice. I definitely liked it. It lists for $48,300, but if you do it in a 3-year lease with $0 down and buy it out at the end of 3 years, it's $36,800 right now. I mean, this was the Engage Plus. You might want to go up to the next model because it's got some cooler stuff like the electronic viewfinder. But I thought it was a real contender. It wouldn't necessarily be the car for me, but the price was phenomenal. I thought it was really great. And I'm going to try to get this in really quick. There was one other thing I wanted to talk about is how you shift gears in different cars. It's very weird on this car. It's got a little handle on the center console, and you push forward to go into reverse. And you pull back to go forward. So I think I told her, I said, just think about it like you're shoving yourself backwards when you push on this handle. I'm doing hand motions for this audio podcast. I hope it's helpful.
No, it comes through.
That was a little bit strange. But that center console also can be moved forward and backwards with a little electric motor. So if you ever had an armrest where you can't quite reach it with your elbow, you can move it with this car. So I thought it was a real contender. I would absolutely look at it. I thought it was beautiful. It's tiny. It's not very big, but that's exactly what she was looking for. And I think it was a good value for the money.
Perfect. And lease hacking is something I know there are a lot of people out there that do this kind of thing. I got to have somebody on to talk about lease hacking, because there is a lot that goes with, like, certain cars. You can lease them and then buy them ridiculously cheap compared to what you would actually pay for them.
I had trouble convincing Lynn to even look at this because it doesn't make any sense. She and I and my friend Diane and our mutual friend David, none of us have ever bought a car on a lease. We always do the purchase and then drive it a really long time. But the math is inarguable. The math actually works. And I did it for this car just to prove it to myself. I took all of the prices and the way it worked, and it makes no sense to pay outright for this car. I mean, it would cost you a lot more money, especially because you get the federal tax credit if you are on a lease, and you don't get it if you purchase it because it's a car from another country.
Unfortunately, this is going to come out after that, but that's good information.
Well, yeah. Okay. Right. But it was $11,500 cheaper, not $7,500 cheaper.
Yeah.
$11,500 cheaper. So there's another, what is that, $4,000? Another $4,000 in there. For some reason, it's cheaper.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Okay. Allison, where would people go to find everything that you do? Because everything good starts with something, but I can't remember what it is.
Podfeet.com.
Oh, that's it.
All my podcasts are there, including Chit Chat Across the Pond and Program Made by Stealth with everybody's good friend Bart Bouchatz, and the NosillaCast podcast, the longest running Apple-centric podcast. Woohoo!
And I will give a shout out because I've been really enjoying Adam Engst, which I had heard him on other podcasts, but I haven't heard him regularly. And so now I get to listen to him regularly on your show.
That's on Chit Chat Across the Pond. Yeah, he's a great guest. He's such a smart guy and so funny. And I just end up every episode, my smile muscles are hurting.
Yeah, I learn a lot when he's on for sure. And he has that similar, like, me, I have everything I have is nothing's in order, nothing's straight. He lays everything out just like you and Steve do in a very organized way, and it's easy to understand. So I highly encourage people to do that.
When I brag about 20 years of doing the podcast, he basically says, hold my beer.
Yes.
He's been doing tidbits for 30 or 35 years. I forget which. It's been a long time. So
Super
yeah,
long
he
time.
knows a lot. Great guy.
Absolutely. Allison, thank you so much for coming on.
This episode is brought to you by Capital One. Capital One's tech team isn't just talking about multi-agentic AI. They already deployed one. It's called Chat Concierge, and it's simplifying car shopping. Using self-reflection and layered reasoning with live API checks, it doesn't just help buyers find a car they love. It helps schedule a test drive, get pre-approved for financing, and estimate trade-in value. Advanced, intuitive, and deployed. That's how they stack. That's technology at Capital One.
Skip the gym, not the workout. With Hydro, you get a full-body workout in just 20 minutes, hitting 86% of your muscles in one smooth, low-impact motion. And now there's the new Hydro Arc, Hydro's most advanced rower yet. Arc introduces Hydrometrics, tracking your power, endurance, and precision every time you row, so you can actually see your progress. Go to hydro.com and use code ROW to get $100 off any Hydro rower, including Arc. That's HYDROW.com, code ROW.
Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless. And if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, no big contracts. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
You know what's wild? Most people are still overpaying for car insurance just because it's a pain to switch. That's why there's Jerry. Jerry is the only app that compares rates from over 50 insurers in minutes and helps you switch fast with no spam calls or hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Before you renew your car insurance policy, do yourself a favor. Download the Jerry app or head to jerry.ai/ACAST.
All right. As always, I love getting a chance to sit down and chat with Allison. It's always a lot of fun. Hopefully you had fun as well. If you want to keep up with everything that Allison is doing, you can go to podfeet.com. You can also check out the NosillaCast. That's NOSILLA cast. And she's also got Chit Chat Across the Pond as well, but everything you can find on podfeet.com. So Allison, thank you again so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. All right, everybody, that is it for me this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. On Friday's episode, I sat down with Carnegie Mellon professor, and quite honestly, we ran the gambit when it comes to topics from supply chain and how China got so dominant all the way to governmental policy here in the U.S. It was a fun conversation, and I really appreciate Jeremy for coming on. I think you're going to enjoy it too. So that is Friday's episode. All right, everybody, take care of yourselves, and I will talk to you on Friday.
This episode is brought to you by Capital One. Capital One's tech team isn't just talking about multi-agentic AI. They already deployed one. It's called Chat Concierge, and it's simplifying car shopping. Using self-reflection and layered reasoning with live API checks, it doesn't just help buyers find a car they love. It helps schedule a test drive, get pre-approved for financing, and estimate trade-in value. Advanced, intuitive, and deployed. That's how they stack. That's technology at Capital One.
Skip the gym, not the workout. With Hydro, you get a full-body workout in just 20 minutes, hitting 86% of your muscles in one smooth, low-impact motion. And now there's the new Hydro Arc, Hydro's most advanced rower yet. Arc introduces Hydrometrics, tracking your power, endurance, and precision every time you row, so you can actually see your progress. Go to hydro.com and use code ROW to get $100 off any Hydro rower, including Arc. That's HYDROW.com, code ROW.
Bustin' with the Boys is here to let you know that every college football Saturday, FanDuel is dropping profit boosts that can turn wins into bigger wins.
Sounds like we should rename Saturday Booster Day.
Nice.
21 plus and present in select states. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.